This is She Was, The Impotent Sun Rose, and it's about a walk on my bookshelf. The impotent sun rose, and breakfast consisted of tiny Twinkies and a glass of orange juice. And somewhere an old lady waits for a child to visit. Abuela made the eggs con pan bimbo, and the girl with big chiches wore the t-shirt, but Persepolis ran away and veiled her thoughts behind a concrete wall. The flowers did not stop blooming for the girl behind the piano even after she was dead, and she made sure to put dinner in the oven to be warm when her husband got home. Sympathetic ears are always given to voiceless women, and no one sees as cages are tossed into ocean, and life was not her own, not her own. She covered the sun with a finger, uncapped the sleeping pills, and let the worm burrow its own trail home. She let them walk in the garden, thinning until she was able to slurp them up between her Venus teeth. She was a daughter of her father, a madman who loved flowers. She was a duchess on her way to play croquet with the queen. She was every beautiful woman's smile without eyebrows. She came from underneath the fifth sun with mango breath saying, beyond your madrina, from under fruit hats saying, beyond your cha-cha-cha. The impotent sun rose, and she watched the wild boy become the king of all things wild that longed for her. Daisy stood still and watched as she chased cars under the eyes of God. She was naked sapphire, black angel's wing, and white wolves that ate at her still beating heart. She was busy writing poems, forming governments, and perfecting agriculture, freeing the fingers of men who were under the binding of her mother's name. She became the stone statue in a black and white photograph found by the bartender that reminded them of the crazy her. She was a skinny girl on the wanted poster outside the elevator at the train station. She was a Spanish girl that sold bocadillos and coca light at the internet cafe for €4. Unable to make international phone calls, fat girls cry at airports as Penelope does and undoes her ugly sweater, because Picasso's dead horses never come with a discount, and lovers left across oceans can always be forgotten. She was what the earth did not swallow, a curly-haired girl in an orchard of fig trees. She was the morning of green tomatoes, yellowed meat, and tortilla soup. She was the hand that held a dead bull's ear. Hers was a face that would write 1,000 poems. The impotent sun rose, and she was a story told on sleeves.
I'm LaMoine, Espinoza, and Erica and Lady Mariposa and I are in a trinity, so we read together a lot and we do things together. Ruinas. Cha-cha, make sure the 25-year-old's toys are properly put away by the time the Padrecito gets here. A niña shouldn't use the perfume of her mother. Don't put on deodorant next to the tamales. Padrecito, play cards over the fate of her soul. Deal out the devil so only her mocoso, father, and I remain battling in a game of King's Corner. Cha-cha, put lipstick on her face. Make sure she is smiling. We want her to fetch the highest price. Dowry should be paid in full so he can drive away in a brand new car. Mocoso, I see the ace you are hiding under your skin. Neurosis claims the feeble-minded, those obsessed with blank. Fantasia chicharra, fantasia chachalacas outside our hacienda. Niña, your father has left us and you shouldn't talk to your mother like that. I will hear you in the restroom after throwing up spoons. Niña mala brillante marcada por la herencia. Mírame, soy tú. Thank you. Hey, I'm Katie.
Hi, Katie.
From Kalamazoo, Michigan, but and living in Edinburgh now. But this poem was written when we were still living in Mercedes. It's called In Texas. It was one of the first poems I wrote after moving here. In Texas, there are geckos. They hide during the day, but with dusk, their translucent bodies cover the window screen. Rachel doesn't like them. I like that they eat mosquitoes. My crescent army against the open sky, I am comforted by their moon bellies. In Texas, getting lost requires effort. The valleys a grid and U-turns are protocol. Turn signals a rarely used option. Driving is more direct. Everyone is going somewhere. If I cut you off, you'll owe me one. In Texas, I live next door to a woman with a laugh that shakes her shoulders. She pulls no punches and smokes clove cigarettes. I see her story, which I do not know, in her eyes. The left is a planet, the right a comet, its tail, her hair, down to her thighs. She distills reality and hands it back to you on the rocks. In Texas, there are dogs everywhere. I tell time by the everyday casualties along the 1015. I ran over my neighbor's dog and she asked me which one. In Texas, I have a lover who is always searching for one more way to love, admiring how I find a home for the toilet paper rolls. She falls asleep responding to conversations we are not having. She called me the dog's name once and then refuted, saying we don't have the same hair color. Sleep logic. She is cautious and careful, placing the flat of her palm on the car horn, never pressing down. In Texas, the neighborhood bully is named Cowboy, an old yellow lab shepherd mix with one flappy ear. He has 2 chihuahuas under his belt and his eye on our border collie. Cowboy roams the neighborhood as he pleases, but I hear him whimpering nightmares on our porch sometimes. He is not a mean dog. He wags his tail and rubs his dew-soaked, flea-filled head on my leg. Cowboy thinks he's so powerful he could take down a car, jumping back and forth in front of your fender, showing off his balls. In Texas, there are roosters that are blind. The sun rises according to their whims. Dawn happens at 2 in the morning. When they begin to fight over the females, they have to be caged, my neighbor explains. Once they get a taste for blood, they'll never stop. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Romero. I'm currently in the MFA program at Pan Am in creative writing. And this poem doesn't have a title just yet. And it's quite in, it's going through revisions, but. Shelter to the quick, running around adults, sometimes the same age of 3 as others' lives, are others' lives as mine? Do classmates go home to alcohol-drowned pasts, the schizophrenic single mother next door who has her only child, feed, clothe, and house them both, working at Lopez Supermarket after school, paying bills? No fence, not even a sidewalk divided, but linked. Lives, the barriers, thick with I don't know and I didn't see, higher and higher until they can't be climbed anymore. There must be a way to go around. Going ahead alone like the child sent to spy, fear drives hesitation. Hesitation, uncertainty. Finally, uncertainty begets no action at all. There must be a way to go around. The sunshine peeks through the tiniest crack of faith. No one can see, but the one sent to spy knows the path that must be taken. Not knowing what consequences or rewards choices will have, forward is the only way. Forward is the only way to know why others choose their fate to stay behind, existing only in existence, because it's what's familiar, familial, and frozen in time. Windows open for only a spell and welcome, and then close sharply with sudden shivers of why didn't I? The neighbor girl, raising herself for lack of her present mother, knows the secret, moving forward through self-education and an unquenchable thirst for what lied beyond her life. The witness to regrets and stagnant lives has seen all that can be tolerated with one lifetime, moving forward in pursuit of a life worthy of saving and saving others, finding the way to go around. Thank you.